over the years, Hasbro's been pretty generous giving us Princess Leia in the vintage collection in figures that were reproductions or homages. They were figures that were released in the vintage era in the 80s, including figures that weren't released in the 80s, figures that we always wished could have been, and, interesting variants with other interesting photo choices, and figures that were from deleted scenes. The vintage collection has Leia everywhere except in her A New Hope attire. Isn't it crazy? All these years, and we've never gotten Leia in her most recognizable, iconic Episode 4 1977 figure. And we finally have one. And it's actually quite good. So I thought this would be a good time with the release of basically finally having not this figure, this one. That's the 6-inch figure. This is the one I'm talking about, the 3 3/4 figure. That's actually articulated and can, be posed as if she's pulling her hood down and comes with both pieces. I mean, that's pretty cool. Though it is interesting. I mean, again, the third lead from A New Hope, and it's taken this long to get, and one of the original, 12 back. So outside of the pack-in figure in the Comtech era, let's take a look at how we finally got to a fully articulated Leia figure.
Wait a minute, what? Away we go!
All right, so let's take a look at all of the modern, well, actually, no, all the Leia 3 3/4, because we'll start with this one. This is not an original. This is the retro one that came out a few years ago. I never had Leia, but, important to have our baseline. And what's really important about this one is, if you see her hand is in the outstretched, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, or putting the disc into R2. And it's one of those little features that I think just makes this figure really great. All right, next one up would be Power of the Force 2, Sans cape. But yeah, there's really no forgiving the. This is the one that was known as Monkey Leia on the internet, when the internet was kind to people back in the day. Then this was the apology figure in Power of the Force 2 that came out a year later. So that previous one was 95. Now we're talking like 97-ish. This is the one that held the double barrel blaster that was originally meant for the Han Solo Fruit Loop figure. And about the same time, we had the Princess Leia collection, which was the same head of this with a soft goods over a body. So, new figure. And the face also, there's difference. You can see this one has a lot more makeup on it than the previous. All right, then we get our Comtech Power of the Force 2, the end of Power of the Force 2. Leia, the first time we have her with her hood up. And this was the one, and again, look, this one's got her hand, whoops, sorry, it's this hand, outstretched doing the R2 thing. So again, cool detail. And this one has kind of stood as the probably one of the better Leias for a long time, even though it came out in, right before 98, probably, 99? All right, and then we have a couple box set ones. This was the 30th anniversary. Power of the Jedi figure came with Luke. You need Luke to understand why her hands are like that, because she's in the middle of swinging to freedom. So, but, it was a great moment captured as an action figure. If you're just doing a moment, which another one of those was this one, which was the trash compactor. I think it was a Walmart exclusive, and there were two of two sets. And Leia is holding the beam. So, you can imagine, she's holding, like, the giant beam across. I don't have the beam. It's in another bag somewhere. But again, this is a moment in time figure, and you have to appreciate it as that. It's, not articulated to be anything but that moment. And again, we have this Leia, which was the box tin version that came out for the was 35th anniversary. Either way, it was interesting because she came with a Imperial blaster, but the only time she has her hood up, she uses her own blaster. But hey, it was great to have yet another hood up Leia, and you will notice how much the hood is hanging off of her hair, which this was always a great detail, even though they made her hair black for the first time. All the other ones had brown hair. And, again, for a moment in time Leia, when she shoots that blaster on the Tanaviv, it's cool. Then we have our Saga Original Trilogy Collection one, and this has been the best Leia on the books, if you will, but the articulation, she has the swivel articulation on the arms, which we haven't seen in, 15 years. That's how old this figure is. This came out before the Vintage Collection. This was sort of the proto-Vintage Collection line that was on vintage cards. And did give her a soft goods skirt, I'm never really big on them. You can see it's already kind of getting dirty just from existing, catching dust. All right, so this was the best we got as far as super, there's no art. I mean, there is, articulation here, but she has no leg or foot articulation at all. She does have rotating hands, and she's got rotating head on a ball, waist, but, again, swivel joints. All right, then we got, in the wake of, I think, Rebels cartoon show, the 3 3/4, 5 points of articulation Leia. And this was the last time we got a Leia. So when Rebels was in like season 1 or 2, season 1. So it's been like about 2015-ish, 2014. Yeah, so, basic figure, but, actually quite a good one. And, just, basic. And, but having her hands, again, both of them you'll notice are in gun pose, not in R2-D2 or, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi pose. And that brings us to our current Leia. The very first time we've ever had one with a removable hood to do, and then you attach this piece here. She has a simple peg joint. Boom. And now she has her hood on her back, just like, every other Leia, except for the ones that have the hood up. This one is fully, ball joints everywhere, even in the articulated feet. Even though the skirt hinders a lot of movement, it should. I'm glad they went with plastic and not soft goods. Soft goods is nice, but what can I say? I like PVC. I just find soft goods doesn't work on 3 3/4 as well as you can kind of pull it off on bigger scales. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely, the best Leia we've gotten, and it's amazing how long it took to get a fully articulated. I mean, we've had lots of other Leias in the vintage collection, but we haven't had A New Hope quintessential one. So, and I love that you can swap her and now have her hood off or her hood on. So yeah, awesome job, Hasbro. Keep them coming. Well, thank you all for coming with me on this quest through time. And it is amazing for, again, the iconic version of Leia that most of pop culture knows. Well, maybe thanks to the Friends episode, now Slave Leia is up there too, but she can't be an action figure. Okay, that's a YouTube video for another time. The point being is, Leia's a very important figure, one of the original 12 back, and I'm glad to have the new one. I just can't believe it took so long. And it's just amazing that we haven't had a highly articulated, super articulated, hood up or hood down version ever. And it's, 40 plus years. So progress is always appreciated. Well, let me know what you think about this format. And, again, as always, share this video with others. It's the best way to support this channel. Do you like reviewing figures in the past like this? Let me know. I have many that I could do this with as new versions come out. I always find I like to do videos like that I don't see other people doing. So, hey, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.